Yeah, got some new music.
Hello, fam. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Facebook Live at 7:15 for Y.A.M Way Bible Study. I am Janae.
I'm Hope.
And I'm Savion.
And I'm Erica. Sorry.
There we go.
Hey, fam. Okay, first let's go ahead and kick it off. Let's go ahead and start out with our opening prayer before we get started. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time of fellowship. Thank you for bringing us together on this platform. Allow us to speak our minds, speak from our hearts. Allow this word to be shared and talked about amongst others, and bring them back to this platform so that we can continue to spread and grow your kingdom. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Hey. All right. So let's see what we got going on today. All right. Icebreaker. Erica, you got an icebreaker for us?
Yes. So our icebreaker today is, what is your favorite color and why is it your favorite color?
Okay.
So I'll always start it out. My favorite color is orange. Orange is my favorite color because it's vibrant, it's busy, and it's loud. And just like me, it's just, when orange pops out, it's like boom, every shade of orange, burnt orange, dark orange. You have so many shades of orange. So I just like orange because it's vibrant, it comes out, it's just like boom. So that's why. And it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess I'll go next. My favorite color is green, and no, it's not because of money. My favorite color is green because of nature. The trees, the grass. Anything green, forest green, lime green, any type of green. That's my favorite color.
All right.
I'll go. My favorite color is yellow. Um, I love sunflowers. It's one of my favorite flowers, and I can see them out in the yard or in the pasture in front of my house, and I just love how yellow looks. It's just so beautiful to me.
Hey. Just like Hope, my favorite color is yellow too. And my second favorite color is orange. But my favorite color is yellow because it's okay. I have a little story why or how it became yellow. So when I went to when I was in elementary school, I went to a new school, and everybody we had to sit around in a circle, and everybody said what their favorite color was. I never had an idea or thought about what my favorite color was, and since I was the very last person, everybody had picked blue, red, pink, blue, red. And so I was like, I want to be different. So I picked yellow. And so from that day on, my color's been yellow, and everything has been yellow. When I was growing up, my whole room was yellow. Like my phones were yellow, my radio was yellow. Everything is yellow. So it fits me. It's yellow. All right, y'all. Well, that's okay. So we got some good colors. We got some comments. What's this? Powder blue, feeling free and airy and relaxing. That's a good feel.
I never heard about that color before.
Powder
Powder
blue.
blue.
Yeah. Look, you start getting into the colors whenever you get into I guess like when you start picking out matching stuff for like wedding seasons and prom season. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a recap. Who got a recap for us from last week?
I have the recap. My stuff is kind of not all over the place, but it is all over the place. So we know we did Philippians. We finished up Philippians. What is it? 9 through 10? No, I'm sorry, 8 through 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about. It was so good, so much. But
So good.
what I got out of it, what's attractive to God? We understand that a renewed mind comes through the Word of God. We also understand that we have to renew our mind every day. Um, a question was posed: what's the hardest / the easiest thing for you? That was in Philippians chapter 4 verses 4 through 9. So out of all of those verses, what was the hardest and the easiest thing to do? And another statement that was given was how we behave matters just as much as how we think.
That's good. That's good. So tonight's topic is a continuation on Philippians 4, but we are doing 10 through 14, and tonight's topic is contentment. All right, y'all. Okay, so I gotta ask, when you hear this topic, what comes to mind? Contentment. What comes to mind?
So I'll go first. When I think of the word contentment, I think of, happiness, just a state of being happy and like okay with where you are, even
Mhm.
though it may not be where you want to be or where you
Yeah,
aspire to be, you're okay with it being, where you are right now.
that's good.
I'm gonna go with what Hope said. Just being happy at where you are. Um, Striving to do better, but happy where you are.
Okay. Erica, what you got?
And when I think of contentment, I think of you're satisfied but not comfortable. You can you can figure out how to make it. You're not complaining. You're not I can't think of the word. You're not totally just sitting there doing nothing. But you're learning how to you're satisfied in the situation that you're in the moment, but you want more. You want more. You're not
Yeah,
complaining and you're not like, oh my God, but you're satisfied for the moment, but you want more.
yeah.
You learn to work with what you got.
And that's that everyone had really good pieces to add to what contentment is and what it means, because that's all right. Being like okay with where you are, but knowing that you are wanting more from where you are, and just being happy and satisfied, but not completely like sad and like unhappy. So that's
Hmm.
good. That's good. Okay, so I'm gonna read this passage really quick. Read this passage really quick, okay? So we can start into our verse, and I'll have you read. Okay. So life would be simpler if we didn't have to think about paying bills, our taxes, right? Or at least if we had more money, we wouldn't worry about or feel stressed. That seems logical. But such contentment does not come from our bank balance. It begins in our hearts. The Apostle Paul knew from this experience, and he gave us the secret to being content regardless of our finances. What y'all think about that? This is
I think it's good because look what all he went through.
yeah.
So, and we knew it was because of him worshiping Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So he already knew, but besides what life throws us, when you give your life and surrender to Christ, that also comes with a
With
few extra. So
yes.
he's telling you, hey, you may be here tomorrow, but you may be here today, but you may be there tomorrow. So in everything you go through, in every situation in life, whatever life gives you, learn to be content
Yeah.
wherever you are, because we know that to have, learn to be content.
Yeah. That's look, topic of this evening is contentment. Hope you got something to add.
No, I mean, I think Erica just hit the nail on the head or something like that. With what she said about just being content.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she said that Paul went through a lot, and it makes me think of, when he surrendered his life to Christ, then that means the world rejected him, right? And so those things
Mm-hmm.
that come with, living in the world and being of the world, he wasn't getting anymore. And he truthfully had to completely depend all on Christ. So, and
Yes.
he didn't have a lot, when he did have a lot, when he didn't have a lot, when he had food, when he didn't have food, when he had clothes, when he didn't have clothes, he still managed to be content with what he had. So he's a
Yes,
great example of contentment just based on what he went through.
that's good. That's good. Thank y'all for sharing that. Savion, go ahead and read us our scripture for this evening.
Yeah,
Philippians
that's
4:10-14. Go for it.
Philippians 4:10-14 states, verse 10, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly because once again you renewed your care for me. You were in fact concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it. Verse 11, I don't say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself. Verse 12, I know both how to make do with little, and I know how to make do with a lot. In any and all circumstances, I have learned the secret of being content, whether well fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need. I am able to do all things through him who strengthens me. Still, you did well by partnering with me in my hardship.
Okay. So we have to break it down. We're gonna start with verse 10 and break apart verse 10 first. The first part of that says, I rejoice in the Lord greatly because once again you renewed your care for me. You were in fact concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it.
Mm-hmm.
What does that what does that mean?
Well, the first part he was talking to the Philippian. He was talking to
Mm-hmm.
him. So, because at first I was like, you lacked opportunity. So you kind of got to really dig into the whole chapter
Okay.
after that to see who Paul was talking to.
Okay.
So people don't be thinking God wasn't concerned, because if you just stop there and you don't really read the history of it, you wouldn't know that he was talking about the Philippian community.
Yeah.
So joy overflowed Paul's heart because of the concern the Philippian Christians had shown for him.
Mm-hmm.
They have finally seen and been able to renew their connection with him in the effort. The renewal came by the way of a gift that he got from a letter while he was going through to get to Rome. When the Philippian Christians reconnected with Paul, he was in Rome awaiting his opportunity to appear before Caesar. He lived there for 2 years under house arrest. That's
Mm.
from Acts 25, 28 and 30. No, Acts 25, 112, and then 28 and 30. The church's gift turned out to be a remarkable blessing for him. His heart burst with joy because of the money represented and his significant church eagerness to care for him. With the gift, he had been blessed with assurance that we are still concerned with him today. That's like the backstory to 10. So going on to well, Savion, you got a question for us? And we got no?
No, I don't got a
You
question.
good?
I
You
don't
got a
know.
question? Okay. So going on to 11. We're gonna break apart 11 a little bit. I don't say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself.
To me, to me, I felt like that was a backup for 10. I'm not gonna say confirmation, but just a reassurance, like
Yeah.
letting it be known, hey, I'm not needy or nothing like that, and I don't want you, just because I said what I said,
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like out of guilt that you need to help me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think it's that, out of guilt, don't feel like you need to help me. For I've learned to be happy whether I have, and I've learned to be happy whether I don't have.
Okay.
So just to let you know, when you say something, you're like, hey, but let me say this. So
Right.
that's what
To
I
kind
got.
of clear it up.
Yeah, to kind of clear that up.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think kind of what I got from that is that like Paul truthfully did believe that God would provide provision for him. Like when he had it, when he didn't have it, or in the times where he didn't have it, he just truthfully did believe that God will provide. And you know, the fact that the Philippians were able to help Paul showed that, God was going to provide us some type of provision. He didn't have to say that he was in need or that he was hungry or anything like that. He just truthfully did in God's provision, and that is what ended up happening for him.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes
Mm,
sense.
Mm,
God's providence. I like that.
that's good. Okay, so before the gift had ever arrived, he had already gained the beneficial insight into the best way to handle his situation. Even though the situation changed quite often, his sense of contentment didn't waver. Such a steady dose of self-discipline had come to him over time as he dealt with his circumstances. So for Paul, his joy didn't emerge from the need for something like money. It was quite the opposite. He was content with where he was at and satisfied whether he received the money from the church or not. He didn't need that extra help. Mm, okay. Okay. Let's
Right.
see.
Because I think he learned, he had went, I guess, in you just life kind of teach you, just go through, you learn how to be, when you have, you know what it feel like to have, you know what it feel like to don't have. And I feel like he knew either way what it was. And either way he knew whether he had or didn't have, God was going to supply his need. So he just let it be known, whether y'all help me or don't help, God at the end of the day is faithful, and he's going to take care of me whether y'all help or not.
Hmm.
So I think Paul truly understood, where his help came from. That's for sure.
And do you think that Paul was comfortable? As far I know we said that he's content, but you think he was comfortable at this point where he's at in life?
Comfortable?
Yes.
So go ahead. There you go with that.
Well, in Paul's situation right now, at this point, right now, where he's at, I don't think he was comfortable. I think that because him being comfortable where he was, he's going to settle and just kind of be acceptive of what's happening. He wasn't
Right.
accepting what was happening, and he like Eric was saying, he depended on God because he knew something was going to happen. So he was already depending on oh, God's got it. Like, thank you for the gift, but I'm not struggling, or I'm not in need with money or without food. So I don't think he was comfortable, because that would mean he would just kind of been settling for or not expecting. I don't. Yeah. Oh, what your thought?
I mean, I think if Paul was comfortable, then he would have just been fine with just, doing what he was able to do with the Philippians. He wouldn't have went out and continued his ministry elsewhere. He just would have said, "Oh well, this is good enough,"
Mm-hmm.
But so I don't think he was comfortable, but I do think he was content and knew that, like, despite my circumstances, I'm still going to keep working. I'm still going to keep
Oh,
doing
man.
everything that I can for the kingdom of God. You know.
Oh,
True. True. Well, did y'all get that?
no, can you,
No.
it froze.
Oh, can you kind of recap what you just said? Because your screen kind of froze a little bit and you did cut out. So I thought it was just me, but it's oh.
Oh, yeah, we're having issues today. A little technical difficulty today.
Okay.
Somebody said
Maybe
something in the
in the
comments.
comments. Maybe I'll read
Remember,
that. Yeah.
the comment says he seemed not to be worried or anxious about the
Hold on,
situation.
let me
Just
fix my internet, y'all. Hold on.
Okay.
he seemed not to be worried or anxious about the situation. He just knew that no matter what, it's all going to work out for his good.
Right, I agree.
Well said. Well said.
I
Thank you,
agree.
Chastity. Well said. Hope, let us know when you get it back. We're gonna go on to 12, unless anybody has any questions. Okay, so for 12, I know both how to do with little and I know how to make it with a lot. In any and all circumstances, I have learned the secret of being content, whether well fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Basically it's just a recap of what we've been saying. He knew how to make do with what he had, whether he had a lot or whether he didn't have a lot, whether he had food or where he didn't have food. He just knew how to be content in his situation. So he didn't complain, he didn't murmur, he didn't try to guilt people, he didn't try to manipulate
Yeah.
churches, or he didn't try to make people feel like, man, he just knew how to he was just content. And if people wanted to help, they helped. If they didn't, they didn't, because he knew that God was going to take care of him. And kind of like Chastity said, he wasn't worried. He didn't worry.
Yeah, so pretty much. Oh, what you got, Savion?
Oh, we can continue.
I was just going to say pretty much the situation Paul faced in Rome must have been full of changes. Like the changes he put in, the position in which he had to adjust. He couldn't spend the days wondering how he was going to tackle the financial and spiritual challenges of his length of stay in Rome.
Right.
So he was already like.
That's good.
Can I talk?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I was thinking. I didn't know what was going on, but I was going to say that you said through the changes and everything. So basically, Paul is saying that through the ups and downs, God is still he's there, and God teaches us contentment through those ups and downs and changing circumstances.
Right.
He also described the wisdom that he received as a secret. Did y'all catch that?
The wisdom.
He described the wisdom he received as the secret.
Oh, being content. And also he learned the secret of being content. I didn't even think about it as like a secret.
Right.
So the secret is actually 13. Is 13 the secret? Would you say 13 will be the secret? Verse 13?
Yeah. Embracing the secret. Acknowledging, 13.
And 13 says, I am able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Right. So that's the key.
That's the secret.
And it seems like once you have that foundation, once that part is down, once that part is laid, and you truly have that understood here and here, I feel like no matter what comes, you may bend, but you won't break, because you learn who Christ. In those times is when you learn who God really is. Now that's if you can either take it for the good or you can take it for the bad. But it's so funny because me and somebody was having a conversation, and she stated to me, she said, once you get a taste of Jesus, and don't take this wrong, but once you get a taste of Jesus, it kind of messes you up. Not in a bad way, but it messes you up, because when you think you're going to go the other way, God, see, you get good and God gives you this, and you get so excited. You want to learn the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. It's just so good, and God is doing this and God is doing that. And then we go through things in life, and sometimes it takes us away from Christ. But your spirit man still wants that. Your spirit man is longing for something. And you start, even though you may go this way, you don't enjoy it. You feel kind of empty, and you feel like something is missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said I know I kind of got off topic anyway, but I said all that to feed into what he was saying about I'm able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because once you get that foundation of Christ and you get that down, you learn that no matter what I have, what I don't have, that God is still with me, and I can be happy where I am. I'm not saying, and I'm definitely not saying it's easy. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you, oh, it's just easy. No, it's not. I just think
No.
it's something that you learn.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And for
Mm-hmm.
others, it's easier, and for others, it's not.
What scripture are we covering? It's Philippians 4:10 through 14.
10 through 4, 10 through 14, right?
Yes.
Chapter 4,
Yeah.
verses 10 through 14. Yeah.
I'm gonna read something that came from Pastor Tony Evans' commentary, and I feel like
Okay.
it's gonna lead us to advance the conversation a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so he says that Paul confesses, "I am able to do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Then the secret of Paul's contentment then is the infusion of strength he gets when he can't go any further. Many times it seems like God doesn't come through for us until we can't take one more step. Then he provides at just the right time, as he did for Paul through the generosity of the Philippians.
Mm-hmm.
The lesson of contentment is most effectively learned during times of suffering and need.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. But I think, Savion, to me, that comes into what I was saying. It depends on how you take it. Because some people lose and they go the opposite way instead of
Yeah.
depending on Christ. And some people lose and then it humbles them and then they learn more about Christ. So I guess it really just depends on how you as a person decide to take your situation. But that's why I was saying earlier, once you get a taste of Christ, even if you go that way, I if God's grace and mercy continues to cover you, you won't be that way for long, because something in you is going to feel void, and you'll come back home. You may delay a blessing or whatever, but you'll come back, because nothing is it's just not going. It's just an empty feeling. I can't explain, but it's just an empty feeling.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What obstacles keeps us from like experiencing contentment? What obstacles do you think in our life keeps us from experiencing being content?
Uh,
Mm, that's
that's a
easy.
good question.
Pride.
That's good.
Pride is a big one. Because we don't want to. A lot of us, we don't want people to know we need help. First of all,
Wow.
and so we'll suffer
Mm-hmm.
and make it seem like we have all this stuff and we can't either afford this stuff or we just can't keep up,
Yeah.
just so that we can try to show people things. So I think pride, selfishness
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
is
Um,
a
Okay.
big one.
the one comment says greed.
Greed is a big one.
Greed is a big
Um,
one.
That's a big one.
I'm gonna say myself personally, like me personally, I'm my own obstacle. Um,
Oh yeah,
because you have
yeah.
me personally, I have arguments in my head all the time as far as did I make the right decision? Am I going the right
Mm-hmm.
way? It's like I'm the it's not I'm the internet without the Wi-Fi. Like I'm not going anywhere because I'm stuck. I
Mm-hmm.
discussed what like a month ago being stuck in that I'm stuck, and that's where in if you don't know God for yourself, then that's where you're going to stay. You're going to stay stuck in the same situation.
Yes.
Yes, because it's something that God is trying to get you to understand and to see. And you're not gonna go up until you get it. You're not gonna go up until you get it.
Yeah.
And this is somebody in the comments said shame.
Shame.
That definitely will.
Shame.
is a
Is,
good one.
is it because you're not trusting God? Uh, I wouldn't say. I'm just like, I mean, me personally,
Yeah.
I always trust God, but I'm just saying, like in general, I wasn't expecting like a follow up question, but no, that's not the reason. But I feel like some people are stuck in the same situation because they're not trusting God.
No, but you.
But I know me personally, I do trust God, but I know I was just saying as an example,
Okay.
me, yeah,
Uh,
it came back on me, like,
Okay,
I,
I got something else for y'all. I got something else for y'all. Okay, a degree of contentment can be found at any stage, right?
mhm.
However, for many of us, it's not fulfilling. That's when discontent seeps in. If we're not
Mhm.
careful, discontentment will overtake our contentment. What does that even mean? Erica, what does
So
that mean?
read. Oh, I knew you was gonna say mine. Read the first part again.
Okay. A degree of content can be found at any stage. However, for many of us, it's not fulfilling.
Okay. So basically what that is saying to me is no matter what situation you in, you can have contentment, whether you have money in the bank, whether you don't have money in the bank, whether you have food in the refrigerator, whether you don't have food in the refrigerator. Because most
Okay.
likely, and in every situation that you're in, you can find contentment. You may have food in the
Okay.
refrigerator, it may not be what you want to eat, but
mm,
it's something
Okay.
in there. You know
Okay.
what I mean? You may have a
Okay.
little bit of money in the bank. It may not be as much as you want, or you may not have splurging money, but at least your bills are
Mhm.
paid. You were able to pay
Okay.
your bills, and you were ever able to have a roof over your head. So I feel like in life we don't have a lot of things that we want, but we have what we need, and
Okay.
we discontent sneaks in because then we start complaining. And God, why me? And I
Okay.
don't have this. And then after we complain, then we compare ourselves to others. Well, she got this. How come she got that? And I've been doing this longer than that, and she got this before I did. So then we compare
Okay.
ourselves. Then after we compare ourselves, we condemn ourselves. Now, see, I
mm,
would have had this if I would have done
Mm.
it because I did. And then it's just like and then by that time we done beat ourselves down so low, we ain't content. And now by that we can't even give God praise because now we feeling shame. So it's like you got to get back on the wheel and get molded again because that discontent slipped in, and you're no longer grateful. You missed the whole point that even though you don't have steak, you got something to make a sandwich. Because it's sometimes think about the homeless people; they don't even have enough to make a sandwich.
Right.
Even though you don't have money to go buy your best dress, you got another dress in the closet that you can put on and wear to church, and you're gonna be just fine. Life goes on because nobody's really looking
Oh,
at your dress no way. You'll survive.
that.
You'll survive. So that's what I get out of that.
Wow. Okay. I
Does
just
that
got a
make sense,
whole.
Renee?
Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense because it was kind of like while you were talking, it was more like I was thinking about us being content where we are, us being content where we are. We shouldn't be comfortable where we are, right? Because Savion brought up the question earlier about being comfortable and content, like the difference between the two, and we were talking about that. So now I'm thinking about being in a situation and being comfortable in it, knowing that to keep going. It's all because I was thinking
Right.
about when your back is against the wall, you start looking for God. You're you're in that position where you're content is a moving stage. Contentment is not
Right.
a comfortable stage.
No.
Comfortable stage, you're set, you're ready, you're set, you're ready, like you're settled. In the content stage, you're moving. It's a movement stage. So that's what I was
Right.
trying to process. So that was good. That was good. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
And it's like the analogy I gave with the couch and the blanket. When you're
Uh-huh.
comfortable and you watching your movie and you on the couch with that blanket, I'm watching my movie, I'm eating my cheese balls or whatever I got. I got my cold drink. I'm not going nowhere. Don't call because I'm not moving
Mhm.
because I'm comfortable. But when you're content, it's just another one we gave you at your friend house watching the movie. You may not get as comfortable as you would at your home. And after the
Yes.
movie is over, you got to get up. You got to
Yes.
get up and go home or whatever you're going to go. It's not
Yes.
like at home you can fall asleep or whatever, whatever. But there, you're not going to get as comfortable as you would as if you were at your own home.
mm.
So
That's good.
You know what I mean? You're satisfied, but you're not like, I'm not moving or whatever.
That's good. Yes, that's good.
Oh, that's really good. I like that.
That is good.
The comments state
Oh.
that the struggle that we have is looking at the blessing of others. And then it goes on to say, yes, comparison definitely robs you of contentment.
Hmm. Yes, because you start comparing your blessings to other people.
Right. And that's the thing. When we do that, and they right, it does rob you of contentment because you're focused, you're focused on that person, and you're not focused on, what God has for you, or your contentment. Am I
Hmm.
making sense? Because if you're focused on other people's happiness, then you're not going to
Hmm.
be happy. You're going to be depressed.
Everybody's
Well, first,
blessings come in different shapes and sizes. You
different
can't,
shapes and
you
sizes.
can't, yeah, you can't compare somebody else's blessing because you don't know what they went through to get to that. And if you want to go through, through what they went through to get to where they at, you just don't know.
Right. You don't know, and what they got may ain't for you.
Right.
That's not for you. You may be messing up your God may have more for you. And you looking at
Hmm.
them, and he may have more for you, and you cutting your own self short, you know?
Right.
So it's a lot in that.
First Timothy 6:6. It says godliness with contentment is a great gain, but godliness with contentment is great gain. Yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. Of course, godliness with contentment is great gain. So godliness with contentment is great gain.
Godliness for contentment is a great gain.
Yeah, GAIN. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Hope, how you feeling?
I'm okay.
You okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do a real quick little recap of what happened while you were gone. Okay, so we're gonna catch you up to see. We're not gonna leave you hanging like that. So we were I asked a question. What question did I ask y'all? I asked a question about the obstacles. Did you about the obstacles that we keep? What obstacles we keep from us from experiencing contentment? And then
Yes.
like what obstacles keeps us from experiencing contentment? And there was some really good comments in the that was thrown out. Erica said pride. There was greed in the comments, selfishness, shame, and yourself. So we kind of discussed on that for a while, and then we talked about. I read a question. A degree of contentment can be found at any stage. However, for many of us, it's not fulfilling. And then Erica went in to describe what that looks like for us, and we got into talking about trusting God at your stage, and she broke it down about that. And then she talked about having a blanket and being comfortable at your own place, but when you're at somebody else's place, you're content because you know you got to move. And so I pretty much kind of summarized it up to when you're content, it's a moving state. When you're comfortable, you're at a set state. Like you're good where you're at, you're set, rather than moving. That Does that pretty
Yeah, that
much sum
makes
it up,
sense.
y'all? Why y'all
Sums
muting?
Yes.
no, it sums it up great,
Sums
tremendously.
it up. Okay, good. Okay, so that's where we at. So true contentment comes through Christ alone. True contentment comes through Christ alone. That's summing it up. Okay, so we left off at
I'm
13. Go ahead, Savion.
I was going to finish reading that. I was going to read the verse 10 on that First Timothy, the 6 through 10.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start it over. Verse 6, First Timothy 6 through 10. It says, "But godliness with contentment is a great gain, for we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. Verse 10, for the love of money and a root of for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people
Yeah,
eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs.
that's good. That's good.
And I think that's really good because when you always had you, I think it's hard for people to learn contentment when you've always had. Sometimes you got to be right, you know.
Mhm.
And then the flip side to that is
What's
when
the
you
flip?
never had, it's hard to accept having. And as
Mm.
Mm.
crazy as that sounds, people don't think
So,
about it, but it's true. And so when for me, I can give an example is because when when you feel like you lost so much and when God is trying to bless you, you don't know how to receive it because in my mind I
mm,
would tell myself what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen because I never get nothing. So oh, I'm getting this. What's gonna break down? What am I gonna have to pay or what what's gonna oh I got this new car. Okay. Am I gonna lose my job? I ain't gonna be able to pay. I always would think the worst because I didn't know how to embrace God's
okay,
blessing.
when I finish.
So it's like it's a flip side to me. I mean, it can go both ways. If that makes sense. Do y'all get it?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like to me, it makes sense to like an extent. You know what I mean? Be
I get you. It's definitely something you would have to um
Experience.
go through. Yeah,
Yeah, because
experience.
I
yeah.
can understand the part but not having, and then once you get, you like don't know how to accept it, or not saying you're not appreciative of it, you just like, okay, what is this for?
Right.
What's connected to this? Like how what's going to
Right.
happen next
You
if I
see,
It's
you
take
the
can.
this?
it's the
There's a saying
renewing of the
that.
mind. Yeah, that Savior, and then it's the mind. It's the mind. It's a mind thing. It's like a person that's like they say all the time. They always been in the hood. They ain't coming out the hood. So their mind is the hood
Mm,
mentality. And if you put them
Mm,
somewhere else
mm,
with that mentality, they will destroy it because they can't
mm,
embrace better because they stuck in the hood. You see what I'm saying? Because they never
yeah,
had. So when you give them something, it's like what I'm supposed to do with that,
yeah.
you know?
mm.
And versus a
Mm-hmm.
rich man that has, okay, then if he loses it or if his people reaching out, that he could help or he could bless, he in his mind is like, I'm giving away, this is mine. I got this to get here, and if I can do it, you can do it, versus saying, hey, let me show you how you can do it. And then we both can have. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They don't
Yep.
understand to help others, or they don't understand or not having period.
Mm.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into verse 13. So verse 13 is, I think we've all learned that as a kid growing up, different versions of how that was said.
Right.
That you can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah.
Um, so with this, Christ, let me see, Christ helped this replace distress with contentment. In fact, Paul's relationship with Christ made him grow confident. He rested in assurance nothing he faced would ever get the best of him because of the presence of Christ. That pretty much sums up that verse, right?
Yeah. My question is, why is it so
Yeah.
hard for us? Even though Paul taught us that, my question is, why is it so hard for us to believe that?
Mm.
Because we have our mindset on you know how you have a game plan and then you have A, you have a B and C
Hmm.
just in case. We have our mindset on A, and you know what I mean? You don't see God's plan. You see your plan.
Mm.
Hmm.
And, and I feel like that's where that renewed mindset comes in that you were talking about earlier.
Yes. Yep.
And as far as I can see, it's like you said, if you were raised in a hood, then you're gonna have that hood mentality. Isn't there like a saying, if you bring the fight, you can bring the fight a dog or the dog in a fight or something like that, but you can't take the fight or something like that. But yeah, I
Or
feel
you
like
can lead the horse to the well, but you can't make them drink. You can lead them, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah, there we go. And it
Yeah.
goes to say that it's that renewed mindset, and it starts off with that renewed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a question for y'all. I want each of y'all to answer this question. How did Christ help him? How did Christ help Paul in that situation with verse 13?
How did he help? How did he help them?
How did Christ help him?
He took it. He. What do you mean? He provided.
Okay.
He provided what he needed. He had to provide because Paul was traveling, and
Mm-hmm.
so if you read like you said, when you read the history of it, I think it was like 3 other communities that seen Paul need help. They didn't even offer to help,
Mm-hmm.
and the Philippians were the only ones that helped him, and they didn't help him the whole way through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think God helped him by providing for him, and also showing him this is what you can have. This is how you can feel when you got this, and this is how you can feel when you got that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Hope you got something to add. 'Cause I want to answer this too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Erica did a great job with it. I agree with what she said. I don't
You
have
do.
nothing else to add.
So I was gonna say that he gave him that peace. I know we have been
Mm-hmm.
talking about only God can give you that peace of God, and he gave him that peace to and that confidence to know that is what he was saying and what his decision was on the right path. You know, because he could have
Mm-hmm.
made up in his mind to go a different route or say a different thing, but no, it's that peace of God.
And in our study, Janae,
Uh-huh.
if you don't mind if I read it, it's
Go for
very
it.
interesting. I think another way God helped, he said Paul had been in prison and whipped. He had been in prison, whipped. I didn't know this. Whipped 5 times with 39 lashes, beaten with rods 3 times, faced death and multiple dangers. He often went without food, and he knew what it was like to sleep in the cold. Yet he said, I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I find myself in. So I think God took Paul through a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things to
Mm-hmm.
learn to not only and it to learn about being up and how to be down in contentment. And also I think in doing that it kept Paul humble. It
Mm.
kept
Yes,
him before
that's
Christ.
good.
So going through that, it kept him on his face before Christ, because I feel like when you're traveling like that, you don't want to get haughty, and you don't want to, if people helping you all the time, you don't want to feel like it's me, it's me. So I feel like God kind of had to take him through a lot of that so that he could keep his face, so he could lay before Christ and always continually getting a word from Christ to give to the people. Because if he had not, he might would have got haughty, lost sight of Christ, and he would have ruined the mission.
Yeah, that's good. And whether he was well fed or hungry, whether in abundance or in need, Paul found his strength and confidence in Christ.
Yes. And he let it be known, just because you're saved and just because that does not exempt. Just because you're
Nope.
faithful and you go to church every Sunday, you at all the Bible studies,
Nope.
you go to Sunday school and you got it down for prayer on at 9 o'clock prayer, that does
Mm-hmm.
not mean you're
Yep.
exempt from life.
So true. So
Yeah.
true.
Can I ask a question?
What you got? What you got?
Okay. I knew it was gonna come eventually. Do you think contentment? Do you think people are born with contentment, or do you have to learn it? Is it learned?
It's for sure learned.
That's because you have to go. It's a stage. So if
It's
it's contentment is a stage, you got to go through to get to that point. So I don't think you could be born with understanding what you're going through until you go through it and you process and you surround yourself by those positive people that are pouring in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was
yes.
just asking because you remember, some people they're born into, rich families or they're born
Mm.
without. So that's why I was asking if you can be born with contentment. But then you answered it. You
Question.
can't be content till you go through the struggle and become humble.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Earned. Yeah, earned. That's good too.
And somebody else put Savion, you want somebody in the comments?
Yeah, I was go.
But that's good, yeah. It's
But
definitely I never looked at it like that.
but isn't that what God is telling us today? Sometimes we go through some things, but trust God and believe. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That
You
goes
can
back
take
to
the
First Timothy
word.
6:6, what we read. First Timothy 6:6. Absolutely. Hope you got
Mm.
anything to add? I don't want to leave you out, girl.
No, I don't have anything.
What really?
Okay.
Mm-mm.
No gems dropping? What?
No, no.
Okay. Savion, 14. Go ahead. Can you read 14 for us?
Still, you did well by partnering with me in my hardship. And
Still.
see, I'm gonna agree with Erica. Remember at the beginning, you know,
Uh-huh.
if you read it fast, uh, if you read it fast, then you'll think that it says that God lacked the opportunity to show it. But then
Mm,
if you're reading toward and you get to the end, still you did well by partnering with me in my hardship. He's talking to the Philippians because they were there through him through the hard times.
mm-hmm.
Right.
So
We said that in the beginning.
I, I just said that.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So what I'm gonna add to that, what the Lord taught him about being content didn't diminish his gratitude for the Philippian Christians. Quite the opposite. He appreciated what they had done for him, the selfishness and the sacrifice decisions to send him that offering. So he was very thankful. They showed their spiritual maturity when they determined to provide Paul with their support.
Right. And I think also too, God limited it because had they kept helping, once again, he wouldn't have relied on God. He would have relied on man to help him. And
That's good.
I think I don't think we look at it like that. Sometimes we go through things and we're like, why ain't nobody helping me? They see I'm struggling or why this and that. And I'm not, and let me put a stamp right here. I'm not saying don't help people. Please don't take it like that. But I'm saying sometimes we go through things so that God can get the glory because he's
Mm-hmm.
teaching us to depend on him and not on man. And we
Mm,
sometimes think, why they not helping me? They see I need help, or she could have helped me do this. She did, But God is saying, but God wants to provide it. Like in those moments, I think it teaches us to depend on him for what we need.
mm,
I have a question. Why is God's strength a necessary ingredient for contentment?
Ooh, that's
Somebody.
love.
Why is why?
Why is God's strength necessary for contentment?
Why is God's strength a necessary ingredient for contentment?
Because you need it. You need his strength because this flesh wants. And God is
Mm-hmm.
saying, chill out. So for me, I think it's because it's the flesh. You need his strength to be still
Mm-hmm.
and let God do it. To be still and know that he is God. And you need his strength to do that.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely,
And just
absolutely.
like Savion Ray, you have to partner with God. You have to be
Hmm.
partnered. You can't do it alone. You can't do it
Right.
alone.
I've tried it. It don't work.
Same.
It don't work.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
And matter of fact, you can tell it doesn't work because like weeks later you're still in the same spot as you were. But if you put God first, and I feel like that's why, that's another thing why people say God is the head of my life because without God you're like you can't go nowhere. You're motionless.
Hmm.
You also have no direction without God. You would just be walking through life, just going which and every way. Without Him,
Mm-hmm.
you won't have that. And you need direction in order to fulfill His will for your life.
Mm,
That's good. And that's absolutely true. We all need direction. That means we have to stop, open our mouth, ask, and not worry about the outcome because God already hears our prayers. We've already, you know what I mean? All this is everything that we've been talking about is kind of snowballing to this point of where we are. No direction without God. Well said. No direction without God.
None.
That pretty like I'm serious. We've been talking about this. We talked about worry. Now we're talking about contentment, and all of to this point, everything that we've talked about is going to be like you need one, stack it on. You need the other, stack it on. You know what I mean? It's that understanding to get us to where we are. This is good, y'all.
And it's definitely steps. It's not something you get all at one time. It's definitely in stages.
Yes.
It doesn't come overnight.
No.
This is good.
Well, would you say contentment is a reward?
Are you asking me?
I'm just asking anybody. Would you say contentment is a reward? Because you said you have to go through stages to get to contentment. So would you say contentment is the reward?
No, reward is heaven. Contentment is just another stage. Contentment is another stage.
Yeah, remember I was talking about moving. Contentment is contentment is moving, a moving stage. So you gotta get this and go. It's when you're comfortable that you're if that's where you're comfortable is you feel like that's your reward, then you know, that's not.
It's a transition. It's a transitional stage.
Good word. Yeah, good word.
It's a transitional stage. So, good example. The kids, I don't know if y'all have ever worked in childcare, but they have a God, it was right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think about it. But anyway, the kids, they have different tables. You got your block table, you got your coloring table.
PlayStation, something.
Yes. And so they're content playing with what they have, but they know they're getting ready to transition to the next table. You're steady moving to the next table because you're learning different things at each table. You're steady moving.
Yes.
So it's not your reward. It's just the next stage. It's the transition to the next stage. Does it grow or increase? It should increase.
That's what I was looking at. Isn't grow and increase the same thing?
Does your contentment? Does your contentment grow or increase?
Isn't it the same thing? Growing and increasing, it's doing the same thing.
Oh.
Right?
I also too, increase. When you get increase. Well, then it would have to grow. Oh. Well, I guess, yeah. Grow. A plant grows. It grows.
It doesn't increase.
You're right.
Money
because
increases.
Eventually it shuts off.
Money increases.
Growth shuts off?
Yeah, because you don't grow. At some point in your life, your feet stop growing, right? You start growing in height, right? Okay. But your mind, your knowledge and everything increases. So you're constantly learning. You don't stop growing with your mind.
Does it?
But in the word, it says, with faith, your faith shall increase.
I'm done. I'm taking it too far. Look, who is this commenting? We're going to have to cut you off at 8:15. Was you trying to?
But no, I want to answer the question because now I'm curious because in the word, it says your faith, you talks about growing your faith. Or is it increasing your faith?
Depends on what version you read. Hope, what's your take?
Both of them.
Come on, Hope. Keep us here.
I think
Wrap
both
us up.
of them, honestly. I think like the experiences that you go through in life, it builds your contentment on like as high as you get or as low as you get, that contentment just grows in whatever stage it's in and it increases. So I think a little bit of both.
But that's why I'm confused. Is growth and increase the same thing? Oh, no, because you don't say, oh, no, it's not. Oh, my God. Okay, when you think about it, something that grows, you got to feed it. You got to water it. You got to water it. You got to give it attention. Oh, it makes so much. You got to give it attention. You got to give it got to have the nutrients for the plant. It starts at the root. Is it deeply grounded in there? And then the root sucks up the water, which grows through the stem, which gives off food to the leaves, which then takes up fruit. Yes, which then leads up to the flower, and then that's what keeps the flowers to grow. Then what happens? The birds come eat the nectar off of the flower, which then carries the seed to the ground for the next flower to grow.
There it is. There it
So
is.
when you grow, you're feeding into it, you're giving it. But with increase, it's like something that's due. It's like a raise, like a merit raise. If I get a merit raise this year, that's what's due to me.
Okay.
Mm.
Like you
Was
know it's
earned.
coming. You
So
know, yeah,
earned,
it's
yeah.
earned. And when
Okay.
something is growing, you're feeding it. Oh, that's
Okay.
Mm.
good. Ooh, oh, God, that's good. Oh, that's good. He made
Come
me
on,
think.
yeah. Come
I
on,
got
yeah.
excited. Oh, that's. I'm sorry, y'all. I got excited off of that. Oh, that's good. Okay, I
That
got
is
it.
good. That is good.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
that is
Right.
good.
I feel like
Good.
that was straight on. I feel like that was straight on point. But then again, I feel like another question is about to come out.
Yes, is it? The multiplication is the increase. What?
The multiplication of what?
You're gonna have to get on and chime into the link.
Is he okay? So is when you say the multiplication is the increase? Is that the when you put two and two together that makes increase? I mean that makes increase. Is that what you're saying when you say the multiplication is increase? The seed,
See.
but that's growth.
Oh no! I get it. Okay, so when you said when the bird gets the flower, right, and he
No, the
carries,
bird gets the nectar.
okay, and then he carries it to the next,
Yes.
right? The seed. It's like when you blow a
Oh,
dandelion.
the seed is that's what I'm saying. The seed is the increase, but the growing of the flower is the growth. You get it? Is that right?
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know. I
whoever's
don't know.
saying is it
Y'all
right?
look.
I want to know. I
You know,
cannot go to bed till we figure it out.
Oh,
come
I
looks
on,
like
want
we
to know.
gonna
Are we?
just chime in, Father.
Please.
that
Let's
Just
increase.
chime
increase.
in. Or
The
But you
call
know
next
me.
what?
plant is the increase.
But there might be a delay, y'all. There might be a delay.
Yes, he
Yes.
said yes. He said yes. So the seed is the increase. The growing of the plant is growth. So you got to feed something to grow. But when the bird, and y'all know I'm kind of a nerd in a sense, but when the bird comes or when the wind blows, y'all know that's how flowers are grown. Like when you see
Yeah.
flowers like in the field and stuff,
Yeah.
they're not planted. That's how they grow. The stuff, the birds come or the wind blows, and that's how it plants itself or whatever. That's the increase. And so then what happens, something has
Okay.
got to give it something to grow, and then the cycle starts all over again. The life cycle
Yeah.
starts all over again. Or the plant cycle, should I say, because that's not a life cycle, it's actually a plant cycle. And then it'll come and it'll start all over for the next thing.
You think of this one plant, but many seeds. Wow.
I think
Yes.
of a fruit tree because each fruit has seeds in it already. So when you take that fruit off, you have the seeds to plant again.
Yes.
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 Okay.
In
The
the
fruit tree.
flowers that
And guess
it
what?
can't
Guess
grow
what? Guess
without
what?
the
Guess what? Could
seed.
it can't without the rain either.
Okay.
Can't got the sun. Hold up.
Yeah, but look at this. I have an ivory plant. Okay, it don't
Mhm.
have rain, and it gets barely as much sun that comes through that light, and it's growing. But I tend to that plant.
Do you water it though?
Mm.
I water
You,
it once a month, and so the increase is the extra flowers that I get on the other stem. So your contentment grows, and it should increase as you grow and increase in your faith.
So many increases.
Yes, that's good. Never looked at it like that, but yes, yes, son. Yes,
yeah. Wow. Watch the fruit that you bear. So
that's
watch the fruit
good.
that you bear.
That's
Sum it up.
good, guys.
You can't have
Watch
somebody
the
taking.
yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Y'all know.
And
Okay.
ooh,
What
ooh.
you got?
I'm sorry.
Something that's
Go
getting
ahead.
to mind.
Well, because when you said watch the fruit that you bear, I can't remember the scripture, but it makes me think about the wheat and the tare and how God to do the separating.
Mm.
Kind of made me think about that. But that's a whole nother subject. That's what I was thinking about. Sorry.
And that's good. Look. a continuation for next week.
Mhm.
Okay, you guys. Does anybody have anything else to add?
I do. Okay, and
Oh
then
yeah, what you got?
when
No, go
I
ahead.
think about somebody in the comments said you think of this one plant, but it has many seeds. And look at how many living things eat off of that plant or that seed or that
Mm-hmm.
flower.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So think of how many people are living off of your seed.
mm,
Mm.
How many people we're feeding off of our seed to
Good or
mm.
grow and
bad?
go out and tell the world about it, and then they go and
Wow.
drop their seed, and then other people are learn trying to,
Yes.
you go to church and you're trying to learn, Pastor, what's this and that off of that seed, and so
Yes.
they can grow, so the next person can come and get off of theirs, and it's people eating off of that one thing, and it just continue
Wow.
to increase. Oh, that's good, y'all.
Oh
That
wow.
just made my whole everything. Whew, that's
That
good.
yeah, you took that real deep.
Yeah, that
But
is
that's
deep.
like that's like a mindset. But it's so simple. It's so
Yes.
simple. If you just think of yourself as a tree with fruit, what? How are you? What's
Right.
your
What are
mindset
you feeding
is like
people? What are people eating off of your
mm,
tree?
It
because
can't.
if
I
one
think
fruit
You
is
about
know,
if,
that.
one, if your branches are rotten, then the other fruit that's around it,
it's
only the
bread.
Yes.
Yeah.
fruit that it touches. Well, you gonna say that too?
That's why I
Only
say
the
that's
fruit that it
why it
touches.
starts with the head, and that's why it starts here. And we had this talk, and my boss, she called, Erica, what do you think? What do you think? I said it all starts with the head. If you
Mhm.
want your team to be excited, you want your team to want to come to work and not be
Mm.
dragged to work, you want your team to smile and talk to each other, it
Better
starts with the head.
preach.
If my boss is not exciting, if my boss is draggy, has attitude, what do you expect from your team?
Mm.
What do you
Yeah.
expect from your team? They're eating off of what you're giving. It's like the pastor. If the pastor can't come, if he comes and preaches a word and it's all his feelings, it ain't none of what God gave him. He just in his feelings and he just preach. That's what he's feeding the people, and that's what we gonna eat off of. So the whole week you going to work and you wonder why you got an attitude, you snapping on everybody,
Yes.
you doing all this and that, because that's
Yes.
what you've been given to eat off of. So it
Yes.
starts here. Oh, boy, y'all better tell
Exactly.
me God ain't.
And
Don't say that there.
that's true. When you're at
That's
work and your
good.
boss like wake up on the wrong side of the bed, he comes to work with his his
Yeah.
attitude of it spreads, and then somebody else gets the attitude, and then it goes in somebody else gets the attitude,
Spread.
and then it goes in somebody else
Yes.
gets the attitude.
And that's what you eat off of is that
It's a
attitude. And then you go
virus.
home and then your family got to eat off of all of that
It's
junk
a
that you
virus.
done picked up at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was good. I'm sorry, guys. I
I
got
got a
That's
excited.
t-shirt.
touchdown.
Uh-oh. Deke got
That's
a
touchdown.
t-shirt.
Oh, ooh, what they eating
Hey.
off of your tree? What they eating off of your tree? That's a sermon for somebody to preach. What are they eating off of your tree, y'all? I don't want people to be eating nothing bitter. That's why if I don't have nothing good to say and I'm learning, or if I'm feeling some kind of way, I'm be quiet
Well,
because I don't
well.
want my vibe or all this to rub off. I don't want you eating off of none of this until I get it
Mhm.
right.
That's
Because
Till you
I'm
get it
kind of
right.
pull
responsible.
back.
Till you get it right.
Yeah. Can I get
That's
it right?
good.
Because I'm responsible. You know. I'm sorry. That just got me.
That
Mm.
fourth quarter was that was a straight shot. Y'all just took off like an airplane the
That's
last
what's
15
up.
minutes.
I got excited. What are they eating off of your tree, y'all? That's a word. What they
That's
eating off your tree?
I want to be surprised if somebody preached about it Sunday, Father.
mm.
Ooh, what they eating off of your tree? God, you didn't drop the word. I'm, I'm sorry,
And
y'all.
that look, that's
I'm
something you can
excited.
constantly think about and carry around with you.
Yeah,
Like this,
yeah,
that's just that simple sentence. And
yeah.
in that, and also I want to say something, y'all. So y'all know how
Okay.
we opened up with our icebreaker and we talked about our
Right,
favorite colors. Y'all
Yes.
see
right.
what we have on? We have on our favorite
Ooh.
colors.
I didn't even recognize it. Yeah. See,
Isn't that funny?
see.
And
I
y'all
didn't
know
even think
I
about
always
it.
try to come with something dark so I don't be distracted, but I didn't have time to change. But this is
I didn't even think about that, but you are so
Me
right. See,
neither. That's
loud
crazy.
mouth.
Because whole picture is yellow too, so that's crazy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's exciting, guys. I'm excited, and God must have was telling me something. What they eating off of your tree?
Be
Woo.
mindful who's what you have
Yes,
on your tree.
yes.
What are the fruits you burn?
Good.
Okay,
What are you eating?
this was
What
awesome,
are you
guys.
eating? Yes,
This
it
was
was.
awesome.
Okay. I'm gonna be quiet for we be here till 9 o'clock.
10,
No.
11, 12.
Let me give some quick announcements, or announcement, I should say, since I have y'all's attention. So July 5th is Friends and Family Sunday at the Way. The 4th, July 4th,
Right,
first Sunday.
right.
Okay, Friends and Families. All right. Any other announcements? Anything else?
Um,
Chime in. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, I'm gonna ask y'all this, since not just with our church, are there any other activities or events that y'all know that's happening in the DFW area? Maybe to kind of get somebody who wants to do fun things, maybe like have that maybe we're not doing, but maybe that's happening. I'm just saying, just kind of share an activity or event. Men's Kingdom Men at the Way is having breakfast, a brunch on June 19th. And from 9 to 12. It's June 19th for Kingdom Men. So any men out there who want to just kind of kick back and relax and be with God to enjoy breakfast and some word and get fed with the word, June 19th, 9
Get
a.m.
there with the word. That was good. Yeah.
And I think that's it. I feel like there's all right, y'all. Who want to close us out in prayer?
I'll do it.
Okay.
All
Let's
right.
bow heads for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another great lesson, Lord. I ask that you help us to be content with every situation that we go through,
Yes,
Lord, until
Lord.
we get where where you want us to be comfortable at. Not where we want to be comfortable at, but where you want us to be comfortable at, Lord. I ask that you guide us, lead us, and protect us as we go on through the rest of our week, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, share this, like it, and see y'all next week, 7:15.
Bye bye.